5 more maritime mysteries. 1. The Sarah Joe. The story of the Sarah Joe is a haunting mystery that began on a seemingly ordinary day on February 11, 1979. The Sarah Joe, a 17-foot Boston whaler, was a simple fishing boat owned by a local resident of Hana, Maui, in Hawaii. On that fateful day, 5 friends, Scott Moorman, Peter Hanchett, Benjamin Kalama, Ralph Malaikini, and Patrick Wozner, set out from Hana Bay for a fishing trip. It was supposed to be a routine outing, as the group was experienced in navigating the waters around the Hawaiian Islands. Shortly after their departure, however, a sudden and violent storm swept across the region, battering the Hawaiian coast with heavy rain, high winds, and massive waves. The ferocity of the storm caught the 5 men off guard, and as they had ventured farther from shore, they became increasingly vulnerable to the violent weather. By the following day, no sign of the Sarah Joe or its occupants could be found. Friends, family, and local authorities initiated an intensive search and rescue operation, deploying helicopters, boats, and aircraft over a vast area of the Pacific. Despite their best efforts, not a single trace of the Sarah Joe was discovered, and after 5 days, the official search was called off. The discovery. For years, the mystery of what happened to the Sarah Joe remained unsolved. However, on September 10, 1988, nearly a decade later, a remarkable discovery would reignite interest in the case. While conducting a biological survey on the remote and uninhabited island of Taongi in the Marshall Islands, marine biologists stumbled upon a curious sight: the wreckage of a small boat with the name Sarah Joe still faintly visible on the hull. Even more chillingly, a shallow grave was found nearby, marked by a simple pile of stones. Inside the grave were human remains that would later be identified as those of Scott Moorman, one of the 5 missing men. Strangely, a small rectangular piece of paper was found placed alongside the remains, which contained a series of numbers written in pencil. The paper had been carefully laminated, but its purpose and meaning remain unclear to this day. What makes this discovery even more puzzling is the fact that the island of Taongi lies nearly 2,200 miles from Maui, a staggering distance that the Sarah Joe would have had to travel over a period of several years. How did the boat manage to drift so far, and what happened to the other 4 men? No other human remains or personal effects were found on the island, leaving the fate of the other passengers a complete mystery. Theories. Several theories have emerged over the years attempting to explain what may have happened. One popular theory suggests that after being caught in the storm, the Sarah Joe drifted westward, carried by ocean currents for months or even years. Scott Moorman may have survived the initial ordeal and made it to Taongi Island, where he ultimately perished from starvation or exposure. However, the laminated paper and carefully constructed grave suggest that someone else might have discovered Moorman's remains and given him a makeshift burial. Some speculate that fishermen or sailors passing through the area could have found the remains and decided to bury them out of respect, but if this were the case, why didn't they report the discovery? The lack of definitive answers has only deepened the mystery, and to this day, the fate of the Sarah Joe and its crew remains one of the most enigmatic tales in maritime history. 2. The Jenny. The legend of the Jenny is one of the most chilling ghost ship stories ever recorded. According to maritime law, the Jenny was an English schooner that set sail from the Isle of Wight in 1823, bound for the distant waters of the South Pacific. Its mission was straightforward: to engage in trading and whaling operations in one of the most remote and treacherous parts of the world. For 7 long years, the Jenny remained unaccounted for. No word was heard from her crew, and it was assumed that she had been lost at sea. However, in 1840, a whaling ship known as the Hope, captained by a man named Brighton, stumbled upon a shocking sight while navigating the frozen waters of the Drake Passage near the Antarctic Peninsula. The discovery. According to the tale, the crew of the Hope spotted the Jenny trapped in a massive iceberg, completely encased in ice. Upon boarding the schooner, Captain Brighton and his crew were met with a macabre scene: The entire crew of the Jenny was still on board, frozen solid and perfectly preserved in their final moments. The captain of the Jenny was reportedly found at his desk, pen still in hand, as if he had died while writing in the ship's logbook. The final entry in the log, dated May 4, 1823, read, "No food for 71 days. I am the only one left alive." The story of the Jenny has become one of the most enduring legends of the sea, passed down through generations of sailors and whalers. While there is no definitive evidence to confirm the existence of the Jenny, the tale continues to captivate and terrify those who venture into the icy waters of the Antarctic. Theories. Many maritime historians have dismissed the story of the Jenny as a fabrication or an exaggerated account, arguing that no official records of the schooner's existence have ever been found. Additionally, the lack of any physical evidence, such as the ship's log or the frozen remains, casts doubt on the authenticity of the story. Others, however, point out that the Antarctic waters are some of the most inhospitable and unexplored regions on Earth, and it's not beyond the realm of possibility that a ship could have become trapped in ice and forgotten by time. Whether fact or fiction, the tale of the Jenny serves as a stark reminder of the dangers that await those who venture too far into the unknown. 3. The Jolly Boat of the Zebrina. The Zebrina was a three-masted schooner built in 1873, designed primarily for coastal trade. By 1917, the vessel was employed to transport coal across the English Channel, and despite its small size and unassuming appearance, it would become the center of one of the most enduring maritime mysteries of the First World War. In October 1917, the Zebrina set sail from Falmouth, England, bound for Saint-Brieuc, France, with a cargo of coal. The journey should have taken no more than 30 hours, but days passed without any word from the ship. Concern grew that the vessel might have been lost to the German U-boats that prowled the Channel's waters during the war. The discovery. Then, on October 15, 1917, the Zebrina was discovered aground on the coast of France, completely intact and undamaged. The cargo of coal was still securely stowed in the hold, and all the lifeboats remained in place. However, the crew was nowhere to be found. The Zebrina's jolly boat, a small lifeboat used for short trips to shore, was also missing. Despite an extensive search of the surrounding waters, no trace of the crew or the jolly boat was ever found. The mystery deepened when it was revealed that the ship's log had been left behind, with the last entry giving no indication of any imminent danger. The case baffled naval investigators, who struggled to explain how an entire crew could vanish from a vessel that showed no signs of distress. Theories. One popular theory is that the Zebrina fell victim to a German submarine attack. U-boats were known to force crews to abandon their ships before scuttling them, but the lack of any damage to the Zebrina contradicts this theory. Another possibility is that the crew abandoned ship due to a false alarm, such as the sighting of a periscope, and subsequently met their fate in the rough waters of the Channel. Yet another theory suggests mutiny, but there's no evidence to support the idea that the crew had any reason to revolt. The fate of the Zebrina's crew remains one of the greatest maritime mysteries of World War I, with no definitive answers to this day. 4. The HMS Daring. The HMS Daring was a D-class destroyer of the Royal Navy launched in 1932. By 1940, as World War II raged across Europe, the Daring had become a vital part of convoy escort missions, tasked with protecting Allied merchant ships from the threat of German U-boats. On February 18, 1940, the HMS Daring was escorting convoy HN-12 from Norway to the UK when it encountered a German submarine, U-23. Despite its speed and advanced weaponry, the Daring was caught off guard and torpedoed, sinking rapidly in the frigid waters of the North Sea. Theories. The loss of the HMS Daring was a tragic blow to the Royal Navy, and many theories arose about how a single U-boat managed to elude the destroyer's defenses. It remains a sobering reminder of the perils of wartime naval operations, especially in the treacherous waters of the North Sea. Some experts believe that the Daring may have been taken by surprise due to its focus on protecting the convoy, allowing the U-23 to get within striking distance. Another theory suggests that communication issues and the challenging weather conditions may have hindered the destroyer's ability to detect the approaching submarine. The wreck of the HMS Daring was discovered in recent years, lying upright and remarkably intact on the seabed. The discovery has provided some closure to the families of the crew members who were lost, but the exact details of how the attack unfolded remain shrouded in uncertainty. 5. The Edmund Thornton. The Edmund Thornton was a brig built in 1852, tasked with transporting various goods across the Atlantic. It was a sturdy vessel known for its reliability, and its crew was composed of experienced sailors accustomed to the dangers of the high seas. On February 22, 1853, the Edmund Thornton departed from New York, bound for London, loaded with valuable cargo, including cotton and other goods. It was expected to complete the journey in several weeks, but it would never reach its destination. The discovery. The Edmund Thornton was spotted by another vessel approximately 2 weeks after its departure, drifting aimlessly in the Atlantic Ocean. Its sails were torn, and the rigging was in disarray, but what was truly baffling was the absence of any crew members. The brig appeared to have been abandoned in a hurry, as there was still food on the galley stove, and personal belongings were left behind in the cabins. Even more perplexing was that the lifeboats were still securely fastened to the deck, ruling out the possibility that the crew had attempted to escape in them. The ship's logbook was also missing, adding another layer of mystery. Despite extensive searches, no trace of the crew was ever found, and no one could explain why such an experienced group of sailors would abandon a seaworthy vessel in the middle of the Atlantic. Theories. Theories about the fate of the Edmund Thornton abound. Some suggest that it may have been the victim of a pirate attack, although there were no signs of struggle or theft. Another possibility is that the crew abandoned the ship due to fear of a fire or explosion, perhaps after discovering a hazardous leak in the cargo hold. However, the lack of any signs of damage makes this theory questionable. There are even suggestions that the brig encountered a sudden and violent storm, causing panic among the crew and leading them to abandon the vessel without proper preparation. Yet, this theory does not explain why the lifeboats remained untouched or why the crew vanished without a trace. The Edmund Thornton remains one of the most enigmatic ghost ships in maritime history, and despite numerous investigations and endless speculation, the fate of its crew remains an enduring mystery. Conclusion. The stories of these mysterious maritime disappearances, the Sarah Jo, the Jenny, the jolly boat of the Zebrina, the HMS Daring, and the Edmund Thornton, paint a haunting picture of the perils faced by those who venture into the open sea. Each tale is marked by uncertainty, unanswered questions, and the enduring enigma of vanished crews and unexplained tragedies. These cases serve as poignant reminders of the ocean's vastness, its unforgiving nature, and the mysteries it continues to guard. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into some of the most intriguing maritime mysteries in history. If you found these stories as fascinating as we did, please give this video a like, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on our latest explorations. Your support helps us continue to uncover the world's most mysterious and compelling tales. Until next time, stay curious, and remember, the sea always has more secrets to share.